because no one wanted to move out. And we were being encouraged to move, maybe even pushed a little. And so I told Phil, well, let's just go into Luanne's class and be a support for her. I don't know how many years ago that was, but a few. But it was quite a stretch going from the young class to the older class. No, the senior class. But a plus was that we felt very young because everyone was older than we were. But not quite the case anymore. We are growing into our class. Luanne is a good, caring Bible teacher, and besides that, she has her class for dinner every Christmas and makes hand-made angels for all the ladies. I have many of them. Luanne and Merlin are good friends to everyone. They rarely say no, and when they're asked to do something. Luanne has baked and decorated cakes for our family on special occasions like graduations. She was even Santa Claus at the library. We acquired a small Santa suit, and we needed someone to wear it that was little. I couldn't even get in it. So I thought, Luanne, she hardly ever says no. And it fit, and she did a good job. She was a good Santa. Not a big ho-ho-one, but she was a good Santa. I don't know how long Luanne was our local missionary president, but during that time, she encouraged almost everyone to try out their talents at one time or another. Luanne was elected district president of missions a few years ago, and she does a good job there. Merlin helps Luanne with her sometimes far-out ideas for district assembly, and it always comes out good for the glory of God. And it certainly keeps our attention. She even asked Phil to bring over a golf cart for a safari or something she was doing, and he got to drive the missionaries in a safari disguised as a golf cart disguised as something for missions. But who but Luanne would come up with fun things to help honor our missionaries? I think they enjoyed it. Merlin and Luanne have gone on 2 mission trips with our church, one to Honduras, one to Puerto Rico, and they've gone on several work and witness trips with the district and are planning to go again, and I hope they can in January. Both are good workers and get much accomplished for the Lord. Merlin and Luanne raised 6 fine kids, and I know them all. We enjoyed watching them all grow up and love every one of them. I could write a book about the Franks, and if you only knew they did write a book. Quite an interesting family. I would describe Luanne as prayerful, loving, creative, a doer, an organizer, supportive, faithful, godly, a good neighbor, and a friend. Merlin is the most supportive husband I know with all the above attributes. He is faithful and the best behind-the-scene guy anywhere. They don't call attention to themselves. They live their faith and always think of others. And I'm happy to call them teacher and friend.
Well, I'm representing the children of the family, and I tell you, it's pretty neat listening to my mom up here talking beforehand, with her having absolutely no idea that she's next in line, and talking about faithfulness and heroes of the faith and everything that's been going on this morning. I'm like, get the tissues ready for it, because it's coming. So, well, what do you think of when you think of Merlin and Luanne Frank? Some people may say farmers. Some may say good Christian people. Some may think of chickens. Some may think of good, fresh, homemade rolls, which we enjoyed last night as a family. Some may think of missions. Some may think of a big family. Some may think of a couple with a large van who picks up people that are needing transportation each Sunday for church, and there could be a lot more. But there's a lot of ways to describe my mom and dad. When I think of my parents, I think of heroes. Let me give you a few quotes that people have come up with regarding heroes. A hero is someone who has given his or her life to something bigger than oneself. A hero is a man or a woman who does what they can. A hero is one who kindles a great light in the world, who sets up blazing torches in the dark streets of life for men to see by. I was asked to share about how my parents affected my life and the life of my family, and the first thing I thought of is, oh man, where do I start? How much time do I have? There are not two people that I think more highly of than my parents. I've often used the phrase in describing my parents to others that they just get it. They just get it in so many ways. I obviously think so highly of my mom that I think I married her twin. The first time Michelle and my mom met and were sitting around the table crying together and solving all the world's problems, I knew that this was meant to be. I think so highly of my dad that I ended up looking just like him. He often states that he wishes he was born rich instead of so good looking, and I've often quoted that as many times as well too. Mom and Dad have taught all of us kids to love God, to love people, to live simply, and honor and appreciate family. They've modeled to not just sit on the sidelines of life, but to get in the game and to make a difference. I've always known that they were my heroes, but it was confirmed even more when we got the call that my dad had been hospitalized here recently. The thought of losing our dad hit all of us kids in various ways. However, one common way was the realization of just how special of parents that we really do have. I tell people, if you knew the environment that we grew up in, you would see that to not have faith and compassion for people would not be to be true to what was presented in front of us as kids. Let me tell you a few of these ways. I remember as a kid my mom reading me books that were stories from the mission field. Tears are rolling down her eyes as missionaries see answers to prayers by God providing in amazing ways. That impacts a 5 or 6 year old in a way that Dr. Seuss just doesn't quite do the same effect for. But that was a common occurrence for my folks, is to be sitting and reading those kind of stories. Some people grow up going out to eat after church on Sundays. My parents used Sunday meals to invite other church folks over to break bread together and to fellowship at our house. I remember always asking, who's coming over this week for Sunday lunch? It was a constant occurrence in our home. Some people like their own personal space in their home. We had 6 kids, and Mom and Dad decided to invite more people into the home by housing 9 exchange students over a number of years during our upbringing, and countless missionaries passing through town that would stay in our home. That was very, very normal for us. Some people only visit nursing homes when a loved one has reached a point of life of needing full-time assistance. My mom visited a woman every day in Swiss Village that was in her Sunday school class for, get this, for 5 years. Yes, for 5 years. Why? Because she didn't have family in the area. No other reason. She needed somebody to come see her. Some people travel the earth to sightsee. My parents traveled the earth exhausting their resources to build churches and to take the good news of Jesus Christ around the world. Whether it's teaching Sunday school, visiting the shut-ins of the church, babysitting children, baking cakes for weddings, cutting the grass in the church, doing general maintenance, and much, much more, my parents have always been selfless in every way. Every wedding I do for people, I quote Merlin, Luanne, Frank. I say, my mom has always told me, Ted, if you wake up every day and ask yourself, how can I make my spouse the happiest person in the world today, not only will they be happy, but you'll be happy. And I think when you've been married for 48 years and have led a married couples retreat for 27 years, I think it's safe to say that marriage has been a priority for you and that you deserve to be quoted. Every person in our family can tell you different stories and bring a different perspective of my parents. If there was time, each one of you, I'm guessing, could probably tell a story of how my parents have affected you for the good in some way. But let me close with this. When we were up at Lutheran Hospital and I saw the traffic flow of people coming to visit my parents and to give to them what they had gave to so many other people, I couldn't have been more proud. Before my dad went into surgery, all the kids gathered around his bed at 5:30 in the morning. We held hands and prayed. We read scripture, we laughed, and we celebrated a man that was at peace. A man who said, I have worked my whole life for this, if God is calling me home. If that is not success in his life, I don't know what is. Mom and Dad have brought their 5 loaves and 2 fish and allowed God to multiply it for his purposes. They are an example of the song, little is much.